how Autopilot in Tesla vehicles might be more of a serious danger than a fancy feature, and a look behind the scenes of HPU's Point Blank. For these stories and more, Q News starts right now.
Q News starts now.
Teslas are often glamorized as the cars that can just do it all. One of the main features of the car is the Autopilot feature that allows the car to essentially drive itself with little assistance. But the main question is, are these cars worth the hype, or are they just another accident waiting to happen? I spoke with people in the High Point area to learn more about this controversy.
Recently filed 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter against a Tesla driver using Autopilot who killed 2 people back in 2019. This is the first person to be charged with a felony in the United States for a fatal crash involving an automated driving system. High Point University junior Colby Williams has been a Tesla owner for 2.5 years. Here's what he has to say about using the Autopilot feature.
It's good on like city streets and stuff, but sometimes it can't always be trusted. Because sometimes when it's in the Autopilot feature, it'll disengage and it'll start like beeping and tell you to like take over control. I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but you definitely have to be paying attention if you're going to leave it in Autopilot.
According to statistics, there hasn't been a crash even involving a Tesla in 2020 or 2021 in High Point, North Carolina, let alone a crash involving Autopilot. According to Officer Spoon from the High Point Police Department, there might be some barriers to these stats.
Like the crash form for the state is sort of dated when you start looking at modern cars, but we have no way to statistically track it here in North Carolina with our standard crash form that we use.
When it comes to the future of these crash forms and laws, Officer Spoon sees major change happening with advancing technology.
I think the big thing is that technology advances. I think it'll get better and I think it'll get safer, but at the same time then you start having that question of if you're truly taking the person out of that driver's seat. What you're seeing in this whole space right now will change tremendously everybody and every car manufacturer in the next 5 to 10 years.
Whether it's 10 years from now or tomorrow, the Autopilot feature is creating a massive change in its industry. However, it is up to the driver to decide how and if they want to use it. A Tesla only need one person, but it takes a team effort to pull off an organization like Point Blank here on campus. Here's Lauryn Green to tell you more about the behind-the-scenes work of HPU Vision's entertainment broadcast.
Many people are unaware of the measures taken behind the scenes to produce quality television. Members of HPU's Point Blank Entertainment show work hard behind the cameras and in the control room every week to ensure everything is done correctly. The show's talents also spend the week leading up to the show reviewing and rehearsing their parts to produce the finished product we see at the end of every episode. I talked with the cast and crew to learn more about the show.
Student-run talk show, Point Blank Entertainment has been around for over 2 years. As cast and crew prepare for the show's 6th season, there is much work to be done behind the scenes.
So I have to go and I have to look at things that need to be done in the studio, load the scripts in. We have to carry our set down from upstairs every week. We have to set the microphones up, and there's just so much more that goes into it rather than just coming into the studio, sitting down, putting on your mic and talking.
Many members of the show enjoy the process of using their own creativity to captivate their audience every week.
So being able to build something from scratch between the set, the content, the people in it, the way that it's put together and keeping the audience engaged, just really cool to be able to have that freedom to kind of make something your own and think about how the audience is going to watch it in the end.
Videographers have a vital task of evaluating the shots.
Crew also helps me, especially as a first-timer in this club. It helps me focus kind of what the best shot is, that seller, that perfect shot of the people that are on the other end being filmed.
With all the hard work and preparation, Point Blank members are excited for what's in store this season.
Point Blank serves as a perfect example to show how working behind the scenes helps create a friendly and creative atmosphere where all positions are valued equally. After the break, we will learn more about how HPU baseball is preparing for their upcoming season and how the women's volleyball team is taking over the Millis Gym. That's up next on Q News.
Smith, I can party with people as long as they don't have symptoms. That myth is false. As we've seen, up to 40% of people who have COVID-19 are asymptomatic and can pass it on to others. So I'd recommend avoiding any social parties, especially indoor ones. If you want to try to socialize but reduce your risk, I'd recommend meeting outside in small groups, continuing to wear a mask, and socially distancing from others if you can. Then together, we can keep COVID-19 out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
America, land of the free. It's at the core of who we are. Freedom. The freedom to live without fear, to drive through all 50 states, to sleep safely in our own beds, the freedom to jog where we please, to watch birds in the park, to wear a hoodie, the freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because no matter your religion, gender, disability, age, race, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter.
Welcome back to Q News. When snow is on the ground, that means that baseball season is just around the corner. At least that's what Joey Hammond, HPU's new head baseball coach, says. I caught up with Coach Hammond, who is looking forward to an exciting spring 2022 season, his first season in charge of a collegiate program. The new spring season just around the corner, HPU's baseball team has a lot to be excited about, especially a new head coach in Joey Hammond.
Coach Hammond is awesome. He brings the energy every day, and I love it. There's never a day where you feel like, oh, don't want to go to the field that day, because you're always going to come and he's going to just fill you with energy, and it's exciting to be here.
Senior pitcher Jack Nathan cannot wait for the season to begin. Hammond, whose hiring was announced on June 17th, has high expectations of his players already.
We don't have a ton of rules. We have expectations, and one of the expectations is that every single day they'd have to match my energy. That's not going to happen. They're not going to do that, but that's what the expectation is. It takes no talent to have intent in your work and be energetic about it. And if you can't have energy and bring it every day, then you shouldn't show up.
After winning an incredible 3 state championships in 5 years at Westchester Country Day and developing many student athletes at Wake Forest as a volunteer coach, Coach Hammond's mind is set on building a winning program.
Our jobs are to help prepare them and put them in a position where they can develop and they can get better and ultimately help us go win games.
Coach Hammond says his team has been working hard in preparation for its first test against Jacksonville U on February 18th.
I think everyone's really excited. It's a new year, and we got a lot to show, especially with this new field, and we got a lot of new guys, young guys that are ready. But everyone's just really pumped, and I think it's going to be a great year.
HPU plays their first home series on February 25th at Williard Stadium against Toledo. Speaking of a home team advantage, HPU's volleyball team is now the only team to call the historical Millis Center home. Here's Alex Gibson with the story.
University's Millis Center has been around since 1992 and was the home for many HPU sports. With the creation of the Corbin Arena, most HPU sports have a new venue. But one HPU team decided they would not vacate their home.
The newly constructed Corbin Arena is home to almost all HPU sports teams. However, HPU's women's volleyball team still uses the Millis Center. Juniors Sarah Malone and Maggie Sally spoke about why the Millis Center, being solely for the women's volleyball team, is ideal.
We kind of have like a place to call our own now as a volleyball team, and we can kind of just have our own space to play our sport, to lift, to have our locker room. You know, the complex is really kind of ours now, which is kind of amazing, and it's just nice to be able to call Millis like the volleyball gym now.
I think it's awesome that we just get Millis to ourselves. It's really nice not to have to work around other teams, and we can set practice times and stuff, not having to worry about who else is going to be in the gym. So it's just a nice space to have by ourselves, and we love it here. We've been here forever.
Head coach Ryan Meek spoke about how the Millis Center is a better fit than Cobain Arena for volleyball on game days.
I think it's a perfect venue for volleyball. You know, if we go up to Cobain Arena, we draw 1,000 people. It's kind of a dead atmosphere, you know what I mean? If we are here and draw 1,000 people, it's lively, it's loud, the band's here. So we, you know, when the opportunity came up, when we knew they were building the arena, we knew we could stay here, we were 100% cool with that.
The Panthers will look to build on the success of previous seasons, and you can catch their games in the Millis Center. The women's volleyball team has no desire to change their home arena anytime soon. Visit highpointpanthers.com to see their game schedule for next season.